Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to do a shortened video of what I actually did in the past. I have a very long 27-minute video about long, short, and medium rooms, breaking down the categories even a little more than what is here, and I go in a little more in depth. However, this video is going to strictly figure out what the best rooms are and also what you should look for. Therefore, this is going to be essentially the abridged video of which rooms to choose and why, and which scenarios to take the other ones over, so you don't have to spend 27 minutes and hopefully you can spend 10 to 12. And as always, before we get right into this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Really helps. If you extremely like these videos, please support me on Patreon. Now, let's get to the dungeons that are best for you. Obviously, for battle and explore rooms, we have just those in the short category. And something fascinating is that the average amount for battle and the lowest for battle are pretty extremely different from low. It's about 75% exploring on average than explore, and it's about 50% less on the lowest end, because obviously explore you always have to go hit a certain amount of rooms. In battle you can get very lucky. On the high end they're both about the same. So therefore you're about to see why battle rooms that are short are your better option. And as you can see here, obviously the amount of tiles you have to go is going to reduce your time. Now this is without the walking mod on. With the walking mod on, maybe the explorer rooms would get the most benefit compared to the battle, but I have not done that with the walking mod on, therefore I do not know. By the way, all of these were done in champion level, so as you see the numbers and statistics, these are all done in champion, with no mods on and all DLC active. As you can see, battle is about 2 minutes shorter than each explorer, and once again we get around that 50% on the low end. Now on the high end we do get about another full minute or half a minute longer. However, the times that happens is not too often, because as you can see the average is 2 minutes left. Therefore we're traveling less, and that means we're taking less time. Now ironically, the amount of fights, you would think battle short dungeons would actually have the most battles, but they really don't. It's only about 3.6 to 4.6. I did take a sample size of 5. After a while, if we wash, rinse, and repeat with higher sample numbers, maybe these would become closer, but at least for the 5 I did on each, we could see it's 1 battle less, 2 low for the battle, and 4 for the explorer, and both had a 5 on the high end. We're taking less fights, we're walking less, so we're finishing faster. Now the total amount of rooms, this is just going to be real quick. Obviously 6.6 to 8.2, that's the less rooms walking. There's only possibly 6. As to only the low and the explorer was 8, and the high was 8 in explorer, so I guess that never really changes. And battle rooms can actually get up to 9 rooms apparently, which is pretty far, which is probably why that one took about 11.2 minutes at the high end. This is total gold between explore and battle. As you can see, battle is your best on the high end, however it is obviously your worst on the low end, because if you're not taking a lot of fights you're not going to get a lot of money, but on the off chance you do take a lot of fights, battle rooms typically have about 3 to 4 enemies per battle room, which means you're going to get the most loot because the fights are going to be more difficult. As you can see, the averages are almost exactly the same. It really depends on which one you want to do, and at the end of the day you're saying if the gold is about the same, why would I really pick a difference between them? Well, once again, about 2 minutes saved, and that's going to reflect in the next slide for 2 things: resolve per minute and GPM. And lastly, but not the least, is the GPM, and this is where you kind of get to see why you would pick battle over explorer. Obviously, the average here is about 400 more a minute, and then on the very high ends, 1,000 more a minute. Therefore, in the low you're only getting 50 more in explorer anyway, so that's what I'm saying. For gold and resolve, short battle are actually the best. So for gold, GPM, total gold, and resolve, short dungeons are the best in terms of battle. I know in the beginning of the game I was like, oh, explore dungeons, it means I don't have to take as many fights, I'm not going to do it. And actually at the end of the day, statistically there may be more fights and also take longer, so actually embracing the battles may be shorter and allow you to crank out weeks faster. Thus you get more people in the stagecoach, you get people in and out of the sanctuary, and it'll help you progress through the game. Now we're going to move on to medium dungeons, and which medium dungeon you should pick. So let's first start with obviously the tiles explored again. On average they're actually all almost the same. I wouldn't say 5 or 6% difference is a huge difference on explore. Now where we do get into some interesting numbers here is on the low end, battle once again very low, as we don't have to always take all the rooms. However, Explorer is actually not too high since you actually have to hit a certain amount of rooms. But with the availability of hitting secret rooms, Explorer can actually begin to speed up, and we'll actually see this later in the video. And on the high end, I found it very interesting that I actually had to walk literally every single tile, so I'm assuming these two right here were a fairly straight path, and I actually had to do a lot of backtracking. And obviously, Explorer, you'll never have to do 100% of the tiles, because you only have to do X% of the rooms. So we get our average time to completion, and this is actually where it gets pretty crazy, and you'll see it reflected in the rooms and fights here later. Explorer only took pretty much 12 minutes on average, 13 for objective, and 17 for battle, a considerable amount of time. For the low end, objective was 7 minutes. I've done ones definitely lower that, but in my terms of the 5 I recorded, I only got one at 7. Battle was 12, and Explorer was 10.4. So objective is definitely your potential for the lowest, and now your potential for the highest. Explorer and objective tie at 17 a pop, which isn't terrible because that's an average battle, and battle had 21 in almost a half minutes, which is a pretty long medium dungeon, all things considered. So the fights are going to kind of reflect why things take so much longer. As we can see, Explorer actually only had 5 fights, as Battle Room had on average 7.5, which means, you know, obviously 7 or 8 fights per dungeon is a lot. We'll see this reflected in the GPM and gold later, and objective is almost the same as Explorer, just essentially 1 full fight more actually. On the low end, Explorer and objective 4 once again, battle is 6, so pretty much you're looking at a minimal of 5 to 6 fights, but as this video would state, a minimal of 6 fights, but there's potential to have less than that. And for high, we only had 6 actually on Explorer, which is crazy, which literally means the fights were 4, 5, and 6 essentially in the statistics. For battle, we're going to have 9. That's insane. Almost 10 fights in a medium dungeon is a lot, and objective is 7. Objective and Explorer were very similar in all these categories, except for when we get to gold and GPM. I'll flash this real quick. It was very interesting. I sadly deleted my Excel sheet a long time ago, but this is pulled from my one video. Honestly, Explorer, battle, and objective rooms seem to have one of the hard set counters at 13, 10, and 12. They were never different. I didn't actually realize that until I made the video a while ago. But they don't ever really move. Battle Room only have 10 rooms actually, but there's so many fights jam-packed in all those rooms, and obviously in between them, that they actually take the longest on average. Now, let's talk about the stuff we like. Money. Obviously the average for battle is about 3 grand more than Explorer. It's about 3 grand more than the low on Explorer, and almost 7 grand, well, over 7 grand more than the low on objective. Objective can be completed so quickly, it can be good for quick resolves, but not always. Then we get to the high end where there's 34 and 38,000. I did not get a secret room for the objective. I remember these statistics and I mentioned in my video. So if you add about an extra $10,000 to objective for a secret room, it's actually pretty comparable to Explorer as we've seen before. So the final stats coming up here is really what we're going to like to see here. So this is GPM gold per minute, and this is why I like medium Explorers nowadays way more than medium battle rooms, but we'll talk about when you'd want to take a medium battle room, of course. So the average gold for Explorer is almost 2200, 1700 for battle, and 1400 for objective on the average end. The low for Explorer is still 1,000 a minute, but they're all about the same to be honest. They're all within about 20 of each other, which is pretty much negligible at the terms of these numbers. And then we get to the high end where you can see almost 3,300 and almost 3,000 on battle, both extremely high. Once again, objective is a lot lower because in those videos I did not scout a secret room, but maybe because you're finishing them so much quicker sometimes, you don't have a lot of opportunities to scout. And just one last note before we kind of conclude this up. Medium Explorers do give you a 0.76 resolve per minute, which is the highest among all of these, which is why it has the highest GPM, pretty decent gold on average. Therefore, and with the higher resolve, there are great ways to level up your people, get the most money, and progress the game the fastest, because medium obviously gives you a decent chunk of resolve. Now, when would you want to take a medium battle room? Because it's honestly not very bad. If you need a lot of gold and you don't want to progress the game quickly. Therefore, if like in 5 weeks something happens, or if you're trying to limit yourself to the amount of weeks because you're playing on the hardest difficulty in the game, you can't afford to burn weeks that are useless, medium battle rooms may be the way to go, because obviously you can stockpile a lot of money without progressing a lot of weeks forward. That, or maybe you're trying to keep a lot of people in a certain resolve range but also get a lot of money. So obviously the more dungeons complete, the more people resolve up and rank up. So if you're trying to keep people relatively together but with a lot of money, you're going to want to do a medium battle. And if you're feeling frisky and you want a quick resolve, objective rooms are statistically your best chance to finish quickly and get that quick resolve high. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video is a little more condensed, a little more conducive, and a little more precise for you. I did not include long dungeons because the secret is they're actually very similar, but please go watch the other video. I will have that in the description and in my comment below if you want the further breakdown of all these stats and my ideas. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe below.